Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 5 of Pokemon Horizons titled I Found You, Fuecoco just dropped, and this is a continuation from the previous episode where we first meet Roy. Let's see how he'll get more involved in this story. The episode begins with Roy sneaking into the Brave Asagi before being caught by Captain Pikachu. He's there to meet and become partners with Fuecoco. However, Freed tells him that it isn't just his feeling he needs to consider, he also needs to figure out how Fuecoco feels. Freed tells him, however, that he can stay for the night, and if he can find Fuecoco, they can hang out and see how each other feel. Liko helps him look for Fuecoco, however, Fuecoco is somewhere in the ship's cargo, so they can't find it for the night. However, Roy is still optimistic as he sings Fuecoco's song at night. The next morning, everyone seems refreshed except Molly, who is up all night trying to fix the holes in the ship. Roy thinks that they can use the Pokemon in the island as well as some of his grandfather's ideas to help fix the ship. Freed agrees and the three head back down to the island. Roy also leaves some berries for Fuecoco in the kitchen to eat, so when it wakes up and learns that the berries were from Roy through Molly, it leaves the ship to search the island for Roy. Roy's grandfather, as we talked about previously, is a village elder who Freed talked to last episode. He's upset at Roy for boarding the ship without permission. However, since the Rising Bull tacklers took care of him for the night, the elder brings them food and lunch, and here they get the idea to use String Shot from Pokemon from the forest to fix the ship's hole. While this is happening, Fuecoco is searching for Roy in the island and can't find him. However, while at the beach, Fuecoco sees the explorers looking for Liko and the Pendant. It overhears their plan of finding the Brave Asagi and their plan to distract the ship members while Amethio looks for Liko. It begins running to try and tell our heroes what it heard. Eventually, it runs by Roy, who sees it panicking, pointing towards where the ship is, which is towards the beach. Seeing this, Freed heads that way. In the beach, we also see Konya and Zar starting a battle against Orla and Murdoch. Amethio and Freed also start battling as well. Since Zar is doing well against the Metagross, Konya decides to go look for Liko. After explaining to Roy and his grandfather about the explorers, Liko can't stand all the battle happening because of her pendant, so she heads to the forest, where Roy asks the forest Pokemon to help them. Both the kids are trembling, which is not something you actually saw often with Ash in the older anime. However, it makes sense since it's more realistic here that kids of this age would be terrified of what's happening right now. However, their Pokemon reassure them. Konya catches up to Liko to battle her and take her pendant, and Roy goes to the beach to help fix the ship. The forest Pokemon get to the ship and use String Shot to patch the holes up, allowing it to fly back in the air. Meanwhile, Roy sees Fuecoco get back up from a rock blast ready to battle, so he steps up. He tries to have Fuecoco use Ember, but it fails. However, Liko then arrives, having defeated Konya's Golduck with her Sprigatito, and tells Roy that he needs to tell Fuecoco how he feels in order to be able to perform their moves together. Before we talk about that, I will say seeing Liko's first actual victory not be on screen really sucks. Yes, she's used Leafage in the past successfully, but that's mainly to get away from situations. Here, she took on a situation head on and won, and we didn't get to see that in this episode since it's focused on Roy. Imagine the first time Ash faced off against Team Rocket, we didn't get to see that battle. That really sucks. Regardless, with the advice that Liko gives her, Roy begins using Fuecoco's song to cheer him on, and eventually Fuecoco gets into it and sends out a massive blast of Ember. However, with Freed not paying attention to Amethio, he gets away and towards Liko with a massive sandstorm blocking the view of everyone else, lunging towards her to get her pendant, and that's where we end the episode. I've said this before, but I love that every episode so far has connected with every previous episode directly. Again, I'm not sure how long this will last because I feel like they probably had the first 8 or so episodes planned out fully with how Roy will join the group. However, after that, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, especially since we know that in the future, our heroes are going to Paldea and even meeting Nemona. But that's for later. As for this episode, it's a fun episode that continues the story of Roy and Fuecoco. I feel like I really can't give my full thoughts on what's happened the last couple episodes so far because it's such a continuation. I feel like once it's fully done and Roy's officially part of the group, I can look back and discuss the whole build-up. Until then, it's exciting and I can't wait to see how this moves forward. But what about you guys? What do you think of the series so far? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at TheRealPDGaming, and that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.